So, welcome to the podcast, Emenens.
Hello.
It finally happened.
Well, it's like a month, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, some time. So, about you, you're an officer in Dawn. It seems like you've been around since forever. Am I correct?
Yes, I actually started a classic, like, I don't know, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks after the release. So the Bloodfang was very fresh server. I didn't like, the fact that you need to wait in a queue on the big realms. So I choose this one. And yeah, it's like, as I said, it's maybe start of September last year, something like that. So yeah, I think it was a good choice at the beginning, and I like it here.
Yeah, it used to be. There was a lot of action back in phase one, and then it had a dip prior to BWL, and then the migrations happened, and it was a lot of action again, and now it's kind of a dip one time.
It was very, very like death realm, I would say, because there were not many level 60s at the start, but with the first wave of mega migration, it became like more competitive, I would say.
Yeah.
And yeah, things started going right because I think even the first multi-core packs were mostly organized by the guys that transferred in here, not like people that have started playing actually in here.
Yeah, amongst those guys were one of the first guys I saw you got annoyed with was one of the guys who transferred here. That's Fake Cutie. The guy who picked so many freaking Black Lotuses. It was crazy.
Well, he had good plan. I kind of admire the guy because he leveled somewhere else. He moved in here. There was zero competition for the juicy Black Lotuses, right? Even in that time, their price was, I don't know, 10 to 20 gold because nobody had the money, right? But he had a plan and, to gather 1,000 of them, and he managed to do it, right? And he secured for life, I think. And
Yeah,
so, kind of, well, he was annoying with his, like if you were trying to, be in his zone, he was after you because there were very few, people that were, focusing on on Black Lotus Farm. I was one of them back in the days.
yeah, I
Because,
remember because I was there as well, and that's the first time I encountered you in game. It was down in Silitus. So what happened is that you started just following me around when I had the timer. You just used the following function, and you were tracking me for like 20 minutes or so. And that was annoying, man.
well, I was just waiting for the reaction, because the maps back in the days weren't like perfect of Black Lotus spawns because it was like 10 spawns per zone, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
people didn't have it perfected, and I was just curious what will be the reactions of the people that I put follow on.
Oh,
No
you,
intention.
you do that a lot.
Uh, Not really. I was following. Usually, I was following my own route, my own cycles. It was
Oh,
just to maybe discourage the guy, to actually do something proactively. So maybe a little bit, but no, it was rare. It was like maybe once, 2 times a day that I put follow on someone, and
well,
I had all the enchants, so they couldn't run away from me. So yeah.
cool. So, you couldn't come here yesterday because you had a BWL pug. I was asked to ask you how did it go?
It was kind of well, it was maybe more than 4 hours clear. So Yeah, we struggled on Firemo big time.
Oh, that's so rough.
We struggled, well, we had one wipe on Ebon Rock, one wipe on Chromagus, one wipe on Efarian as well. So yeah, you can imagine it wasn't a good rate. And it's strange, because I had like I don't know, 55 signups or something like that. But I wouldn't like to go into the detail much because people who struggled, they realize they struggled. So no hard feelings. It can happen. It's a puck, right? If it's a guild run with like 80% people that you go with every single week, it's different, right? Because
Oh yeah, yeah,
people are playing roles that they are very familiar with. It's not outs because usually, most of the guys are outs, right? And there are not many mains in the raid.
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. It might be a bit harsh to call people out by name if they are not used to the role that they are having.
Well, and the thing is, if, for example, you are a main in Hunter and Black Winkler from perspective of the Hunter, and then you swap to tank, it might be difficult to transform
Yeah,
because it's the case, for example, that can because like Black Winkler as a raid, it's basically just about tanking. And if you struggle with tanking, with the counter rotations and stuff, especially on the three drakes, then it's difficult, right? We had the time lapse on Chromagus. I think the first pull was around 40%, 30%. No, it was lower than that. We actually nearly killed him on the first pull with time lapse. So some packs are struggling. I remember I was in, I think, uh, Yada Puck one time. I've been with them a couple of times, but one time we had a time loss and we went like 3 or 4 times. So, uh, the packs are, like that, and it's part of the plugin, right? I think.
Did you do the Ethereum thing where you lined everybody up and practiced for the different? I mean, if time lapse would occur and shit like that.
No, we didn't practice.
Oh
I
man,
I I
it's
believe
too
that
much to
people know those. It's not like rocket science. I think it's quite simple. If you go time lapse, you just expose yourself, except the guys that are assigned, to actually not get into the time lapse, like a couple of healers, off tank and hunter to tank. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's like super difficult to execute this strategy, right?
No, 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 no. I'm 100% with you. I'm really surprised that you could wipe like 5, 6 times on Firewall.
Well, because we use one position and then we don't use the dodge strategy. But the guys who were tanking this time, they were not familiar with it. I think the strategy we are making, it means, that basically the healers and casters are on the original position of Brute Lord, inside the room, in the suppression room, and they are basically the healers mainly are out of sight in the stack, the light of sight in the firemo, so
Yeah,
they are
yeah,
not getting the stacks at all. And I think it's good because sometimes he does a knockback, and if the tank is against the wall, there's like no danger that can happen, with like a mispositioned boss, right? So yeah, we did first pull on that. Then tanks wanted to swap to the door strategy when he's basically in the door frame, right? And we tried like I think 2 or 3 pulls with that.
I hate that strategy.
Yeah, I had to.
I've tanked that one, and it's I find it so annoying because if you misposition it, either the one who takes the wing buffet it flies across the room or shit like that, or the cone is too big. I like the door opening way more than the one at the guardrails or whatever. Okay, but people actually pay a fee to join you for BWL for 15 gold to cover for tanks flasks. Did they have to pay an extra 15 since it took 4 hours?
No, I didn't have 2 sets of flask ready because, for example, last week it was 1 hour and 10 minutes clear, right? So
Oh
I
man.
was never I was never expecting it could take that long. So we just went without the flask for the Nefarian and for Kuromagus, I believe. And there was no issues, I would say, like that the tank would have, not sufficient HP pool. I think it's good, for Valstrel's Broodlord who hits really, really hard,
Yeah.
and also for the 3 Drakes because the Shadow Flame can hit hard as well. So I think it gives healer more space to like.
So, how's things in Dawn? What's the atmosphere like?
I think we are at the position as most of the smaller non-speedrunning guilds. Uh, we've got quite good core of the players that shows up for like 90% plus of the raids. Obviously, the current meta is like, let's say 20 to 25 people are just raid login mostly.
Yeah.
So it feels kinda, that during the non-raiding days there are like 50 to 25 people online. So
Yeah,
you know,
I've seen you specify in the recruitments that you want people that are active and not just raid logging.
yeah, because I would like to have active people. I can go to some 5 mans or to do some farm, for example, for the meat, for the stamina and Feralas, right?
Mm,
And if you got more numbers, it's the farm is easier, right? There are usually like groups 2 to 5, and if you bring the rate of 10 to 15 or 20 people, you can easily control the zone,
yeah.
right? So the farm is more efficient, so you've got more options. You can try some ward bosses, for example, with cooperation with some other guilds, right, that we used to do before. I mean before the last wave of migration with the top alliance guild that joined. It was possible to contest ward bosses. We downed, I think Azure goes 3 or 4 times, Kazakh 2 times. Uh, but if you don't have numbers, then you need to fill in with the guys that doesn't have any clue what to do, or their movement is so poor, that they'll just if you're doing the new 4 Drakes, they'll stand next to the mushroom and they won't move, right?
Yeah.
So then it's difficult, right, to contest, those, and so it's a part of the game that I would like to anticipate somehow, but with the raid logging guild, it's or raid logging guys, it's not possible to do it because they are not in game, right?
Yeah.
And I don't blame them because there is not much from the game to offer, right? Except for the items from dungeons, right? There is like no major reputation farming, like nothing much to do outside of preparation from Nax, because people should farm their first resist gear. They should farm their arcane crystals. They should farm their or they should have some professionals for mooncloth, for uh, you know good rugged height and everything. Because they all struggle. Well, for tier 3, you need resources, right? And I don't know how those guys are. Uh, if they got stock, I I think like half of them won't. So what they are expecting, right? And how can be gold situation of people that are on the raid looking, and they weren't hard farming and any stage, right? I was hard farming in phase 1, phase 2 because I realized it can secure me till end of the game, right? And that's what happened because I still got quite a lot of Black Lotus. I think over 40 still.
Okay.
Uh, from you know the beginning, because as I said, there was uh, almost zero competition, so it was easy. And I was kind of the I was trying to get some advantage, so I was teaming up very early. We were like 2-4, and we were trying to control more zones because back in the days it was about to have respawn timers, and
Yes.
we were controlling 2 to 3 zones easily with if you had as I said 2-4 guys, it's it's very time saving, and more efficient, to control the zone because 10 spawns in one zone. Uh, if you got 3 guys, it's basically 3 spawns each, right? So
Yeah.
mm, I think if they are solo farmers, they've got very little chance to get it, basically.
Yeah, but what killed the farming of the Black Lotus wasn't the change of the timers, it was actually the
No,
migrations. Because when the migrations happens, it's when the botting started happening, and then you were screwed.
well, later on, I would say since January, February, you could see, a lot of corpses around the spawn. So they were, the people who were just, waiting in the ghost and checking for the spawns. So I think it was kind of issue as well.
Yeah,
And when I seen this happen, I said, no, I'm not bothered anymore. I'm not like focused on the Black Lotus Farm because it's not efficient, right? If it's efficient for me, I'm going for it. But this no, I was used to get for the sessions, when I got from 6 to 15 a Lotuses a session. So no, I said I'm not bothered with this because uh, it's too strong. And then people started to make hunters, to Eagle's Eye, and they got multiple accounts ready, at spawns. For example, it parked South Seas as well, so
yeah.
it's hard to compete with that shit.
Yeah, for me it was like, okay, so I'm not doing Black Lotus anymore. Well, let's level up a mage and see what happens. And then I figured out like mage farming that takes attention. That's that's work. Picking flowers, that's easy. So I
Well,
didn't really farm that much on my mage, to be honest.
well, if you got a mage, you can print gold quite easily because there is
Oh yeah.
still high demand for boosting, right? I think, or even if you are doing Zulfarak farms around those spots, even alone, it's good resource of the gold gain, right?
Oh yeah. Well, the main reason I brought you here is, of course, of the Discord dramas that you've been involved with over the times that you've been here. And I've been through a lot of your posts. I've browsed through every one of them actually, dating back to over a year. And like honestly, it seems to me like you mostly just come to Discord when you're upset and you just look to spew out whatever bullshit, and I don't think you really care that much about what you're saying, to be honest. Because
Well,
you seem like a reasonable guy when I talk to you, and you don't seem
well,
that reasonable on Discord, man.
I believe that what I type in there makes sense. There is some reasoning behind what I'm actually typing, right? And obviously, I won't agree when I see some dodgy stuff, some stuff that's not right. And
Yeah,
obviously I'll react, because I kind of care about the realm community. That's, for example, why I do the packs, because I'm super happy when people will get major upgrades for their tunes, right? Uh, so when I see something wrong, I am not afraid to, even though that I can expect, because if you look at the Bloodfang Discord, they are same people all the time, right?
oh yeah,
Same-minded people, and I don't mind, to be in opportunist position when I'll be against the majority, because the majority on Bloodfang Discord, I would say, is, as I said, the same-minded. They think, they are on the top of their game. Uh, be as the casual guys, that are not in the hardcore guilds that would be, doing speedruns in AQ below 40 minutes, and so they consider us as probably trash. I don't know, man. It's just different. I would, from my point of view, it's just different approach to the game, right? They want to push their limits. They don't care, that they will burn, a lot of resources, that might be precious, for the, next stages of the game.
Yeah.
And for
But I agree with your point completely. I don't
Mm.
think that the guys that are posting on the Bloodfang Discord are representative of the whole community as a whole. I think it's a small bunch of very active players who just want to sort of establish their presence by being so active on the Discord as well as in game. And most of the players, I don't think they even bother to check the Discord that much.
yeah, well,
When they do, they only see the post from the same guy anyway, so they kind of shrug the shoulders.
well, a lot of people are not just, can't be bothered, to like present their opinion because they know what will happen, that will be, 10, 15 people
Yep,
that
they
will
will be
always say
spurred.
you are stupid, you are dog shit, your parcels are shit, so you're a shit as well, right? And that's, their elitist approach, I'm a god and you are nothing, right? And so that's the input that I got from the guys, that are, for example, reading some of it, but they are not contributing to the discussion because they are saying it's pointless. I think they are right, but
Yeah, yeah, I
sometimes
get it.
you need to step up, and to to actually say that, guys, what are you doing is not correct, or it's not the way to go, right? It's like it's not it's not like a fair thing to do, for example, right?
Right. Well, the guy who used to be like this back in the days, it was Denatarian. And he would get spurred big times by Epic Fabric. And every time he said something, regardless of what the argument was about, they always made it about Denatarian in person. It's called an ad hominem argument, that you attack the person instead of what he's saying. So regardless if the Nathaniel was right or wrong, they always made it about, but look how stupid you are. Look at this clip from your Twitch stream where you did this right, so you can't be right in any occasion.
Well, but in Denatharen's case, I think he was getting targeted because of his, like very
Flamboyant character.
yeah. Well, I joined his pucks as well for some period of time, and
Oh
I
yeah.
know how he leads and how he talk to people. So obviously, if you approach it the way he does, then well, a lot of people are kind of, if from the leader point of view, if you go hard against them, obviously most of them won't like it, right? But
Yeah.
I didn't mind because I knew what kind of guy is that, so it was not unexpected. So I I never had hard feelings against him. I only had hard feelings when he was trying to go for the people from the girls that I used to play with.
When I was punching.
Yeah. It's I think it's kind of off. You don't want to do that. I was trying actively recruit a lot as well. It's difficult because the of the RAM population, or how is it set up. There are very super casual players that I think you don't want them in AQ40 or in Naxxramas because every individual mistake, even from range DPS, can cause a wipe. So there is not like enough material on the realm to raid with, right? And
Yeah, it's not that hard to find a player willing to get carried through all the content.
but I would never try to ninja the guys from the functional guilds, that are, like somehow successful. I was trying to. get people from the guilds. I believe that they are, stuck. For example, in phase 4, they are struggling in Molten Core or Black Clair. So that was like, the only when I was trying to recruit was the only like occasions when I tried to, go to the guild that I thought it's very casual. They are not like into the raiding match, and but I was never successful anyway because people in the smaller guilds, or like casual guilds, they are quite dedicated. It's hard to get them to the two different guild, to different environment because
Yeah.
they are used to, they got some friends already in there, so uh, you know it's not easy. But to like try to snipe people from, unknown or uh, shamed, or you know or Unity, whatever, the guild that is actually, clearing the current content. Why, right? If they wouldn't be happy in their guilds, they would leave the guild and they would, find a different solution. But I think, why, right? What's the point, of asking the guy that if you basically know the answer prior to the question, right?
Yeah.
As it would be no.
Yeah. But let's return a bit to the Discord arguments, because um, as I was coming to, I think that a lot of people actually agree with the things that you are upset about, or the things that you have like brought attention to on the Discord. For instance, like the first occasion I could see you going into actively beefing with someone was Fake Cutie, and that was about him using multiple accounts, giving him, as you said, an unfair advantage. And comparison to people that doesn't play with 3 accounts, he definitely had an unfair advantage because he was using 3 accounts. He was using one horde account just to spam the location of his competitors, and then was using Night Elf Hunter just to Eagle Eye. And then he had his mage, which he picked the lotuses with. And however, I don't really agree with you going as far as like saying I will report you for this. I do agree that you have a point there.
Well, but as I mentioned before, I kind of admired the guy because it was his goal to get, those 1,000 lotuses. And I would say when he was at point at 500 plus, it became more and more contested.
Yeah.
More people were after Black Lotuses, so he was just trying to, fulfill his goal, right? And uh, retrospectively, yeah, I probably would just say whatever, man. Well played, man. Carry on. Maybe
Yeah.
I should be, more like over it, but no, I was kind of pissed off because it was in conflict with my own interest, right? I wanted to get some decent amount of lotuses as well, and it was super annoying, man. Especially
Yeah.
against good mate because he was good PvP mate. That you can't deny that he was really good, in PvP.
Yeah. And the next thing I saw you upset about was the collusion. And there I think as well that you have a lot of people backing you with saying that the collusion wasn't fair against the people that weren't involved in it. And of course, it did exclude a lot of players that didn't get to experience that part of the content or even be allowed down in the hives or whatever.
Mm. Yeah, I actually knew before the an AQ for AQ40 patch these collections were already made, and I never stepped to Solitus for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh
So
shit.
I said I'm not taking part of this shit show because uh, from what I have heard, from the guys, that were trying to farm some carapaces, it was terrible, because they encountered some horde guys, and in the same hive they were alliance guys, and they were basically protecting the horde. from the competition, and the same happened on the alliance side as well. So basically, there were hard, like kill squads, to protect the alliance,
Yeah.
in their hive. So uh, I I knew it's happening, right? I think it's very toxic. It's and it would be impossible in vanilla without Discord, right? Or without any external communication. It would be
Yeah.
impossible, right? To make those
Definitely.
pacts. And whole point of Classic is trying to reproduce what it was back in the days in vanilla, because that's the game I played. I never played any of the expansions except of TBC, but just for like 2 weeks or something. Uh, so I wanted to play the same game, but thanks to modern ways of communication, it was kind of ruined, because I think when they were designing it, it was meant to be like contested stuff. It was meant to be a like good source of PvP, both with endless farming of the carapaces, because it's not easy to get 36,000 of carapaces, right, or 42,000 carapaces. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I think everybody should have a shot, to get to get the to get through the scepter quest line, to get their legendary mounts. But it's not just situation in our realm. Let's not be naive. I think it happened on basically most of the realms. That those coalitions were made. To like made the farm more efficient
Oh yeah.
and to make it as quickly as possible. Because if you got dominance over the hive, you will get it quicker, right? If you don't need to care about like ganking squads and stuff like that. So and I do believe that those guys or those guilds, who made it, even with multiple mounts, they would be able to do it without the coalitions as well, because they got numbers to do it. They were ready for it. They were ready to fight. They had, like, let's say, uh, 25 plus people farming in the hives, right? So they would get it, but it wouldn't be that easy, right? But it could be with clean head, with clean shield, right? That they didn't do anything wrong, right? Now, but as I said, it's again 3 months ago. I'm kind of over it, because part of the what I did, I basically banned the guys, from colluding deals for
Oh
for the
yeah.
packs that I was organizing, because it was like demonstration that I don't agree with it. The guys who were carrying on with the pucks that I was making, they were same minded as me. So uh, uh, I think it was just a signal, guys. It's not correct. What have you done, or what are you doing? Uh, for me, when I see now the guys with the legendary mounts, it's kind of a mark. Not all of them, because there are also some scarab lords that made it without the collusion. There are a couple of guys, I think, guys from unknown. They
Yeah,
they
TBD has one and Genesis has one as well.
and what pissed me the most, on this was basically what United did. They were camping the neutral auction house when the alliance was sending over the materials. They were camping those neutral auction houses and
Yeah,
trying
but
to delay the war effort. It was.
That was 5 stacks of wool cloth.
But it discouraged the guy, because there was some guy from Shamed who was kind of trying to organize, or split, how to farm the mats, or how it was like that kind of organizational sheet, for
Yeah,
the
biggest
guilds.
Bill was the guy who
Yeah,
organized it.
but this action from Unity basically discourage him to carry on with it. And he was, he was putting a lot of his free time, a lot of his effort, a lot of resources, just to help the realm. Like he didn't want to have any personal gain from it. But when he seen that was happening, uh, he said, "Fuck that, man! I've done enough. I had enough. If
Okay.
they just want to delay, the war effort, contribution of materials, then something is wrong. And it was just because one guy will get extra amount, right? One guy, because of one guy, we'll delay like 1,000 of raiders, that want to fucking go to AQ40 because Black and Cloud at the time was boring, right? For the guild trans, it was not a challenge because the encounters were so easy. So we were kind of hyped, about AQ40. We wanted to get it done as soon as possible. So we were farming, the fucking mats, that are not fun to farm, like, the bronze bars and, the very low level cloth.
Yeah,
It's not,
but I
it's not,
checked
it,
out the sheet and it only accounts for I think around 40% of the entire effort. I mean,
yeah, that was a mistake because some of the materials were uh, on the sheet were incorrectly uh, because I think when the guy made the sheet, he thought that some of the materials are shared between the Horde and Alliance, and at the end of the day, it wasn't. So it was a major mistake. But then I even myself, I stopped farming the mats. I said, guys, you want to hold auction, a neutral auction house for transferring the mats, you can finish it yourself. So at some point, I said, whatever, we can wait another 2-3 weeks. If they wanted to have more mounts, go for it, guys.
yeah, but that was happened in the end as well. Lagenberg told me, Lagenberg from Turtles, that he streamed while he was turning in materials for 3 hours or something like that. I mean, in the end, it was down to the guys that were doing the whole collusion thing to
Yeah,
complete it
basically at
as
the
well.
end of it was Turtles and Epic Fabrican who were finishing it up, maybe Unity as well. But I donated quite a lot of stuff. I still got scrolls, from turning on the reward. So I contributed quite a ton, because I was expecting we'll push it quickly and we'll open the gates as soon as possible, but it never happened.
No, that wasn't the aim for a bunch of guilds. Those those who didn't want to be involved in the war effort, their reasoning was that they would farm AQ for a couple of months, regardless of it being open on the first or second or third reset. They would still have time to do the AQ, so they might as well just enjoy the phase that's in between the opening.
But as you noticed, the releasing of the patches is quite quick, and because of this delay, some people are still not heavily geared from AQ40. And I think it's essential, to have, a couple of, for example, healing maces from Cthulhu. There are quite a lot of items that are very, very strong and that would be very, very helpful. And if you are for the decision, let's delay it, right? That it will take off from the preparation for next, to get, best possibly geared rate, right, for next progression, right? So they are basically saying we care about the cosmetics because legendary mount is, in my opinion, just cosmetics because uh, it doesn't give you any other benefit, right, than
Uh,
the looks and maybe the title. That's basically it. And because of, like, let's say, 4 or 5 guys that want to have their legendary mount, the whole realm is basically held up as a hostage. Uh, because we can't basically bypass it, and there was no will, from like Bloodfang community to push it hard to bypass, those strugglers or those decisions of that were made, in a couple of guilds, then we basically lost 2-3 resets of AQ40 to be better prepared for next rounds, right? As a population of our realm, right?
Yeah, perhaps. I still think that the next Ramos was too early announced.
Yeah, it was, man. I was expecting it will happen like in January or late December.
Yeah, yeah, at least another 4 resets minimum. So that's kind of odd from Blizzard's behalf.
Well, I think they are rushing it, because they want to release TBC. I think it will be paid expansion again, so they'll get some extra cash uh, for pushing it quicker because
Yeah, I assume they're just looking at the numbers and saying, okay, so we're bleeding players. What can we do? Okay, our option is to release content, and hopefully people will come back or just stay playing, and that's what they're doing.
well, because it's not Blizzard anymore, it's Activision, and Activision is very driven for just basically to generate big numbers, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know if it's about no. Well, back in the days, I think Blizzard aimed for the community, like to be happy, to take care of them, because even the customer support back in the days was on much better level than it is now. You didn't have to wait for the ticket resolving for 5 to 10 days. It's
yeah.
usually within 1 or 2 days, right? When you had an issue. So now I think it's just driven by profit. Uh, but it's 20% share. So what can you expect, right? In 2020.
But
Share.
during the war effort, you kind of jumped some of the guilds that came here from Firemo. Like, what was your reasoning there? What you wrote is that uh, they came here farming our precious resources and were not willing to put any effort into opening the gates.
Well, if you join a realm in a like later stage, because it's a later stage of the classic, uh, and you are good trading guild, that's good, like people who are dedicated to the game should also contribute, not just use it as uh, easy resource, because high pop realms, it's nearly impossible to farm in normal world, because it's too flooded, it's too crowded. So whatever you are going for, if you're farming I don't know, elemental earth, or if you're farming plague blooms, or if you're farming whatever, it's very complicated, right? So I think it's also, if you transfer to like low or medium populated realm, that's what you're kind of expecting. But on the other hand, you should do your bit, for example, to speed up the things, to open the gates, right? To make it work.
But what were you expecting from the management that you targeted it towards? Like, were you expecting them to say that their members were forced to turn in stuff?
Well, it depends how hardcore are you in the guild, right? If you are super hardcore, you can say, okay, we'll, for example, if you are in whatever loot system in the guild, we'll put you in disadvantage if you won't contribute, right? Some of the guilds went for this decision, to like make the loot conditional according how you contribute
Oh, really?
towards your
I've never heard of
arsenal.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. For example, Shamed, I think, did that. So
Oh,
they
okay.
wanted to encourage their. So basically, because they were the creators of the like realm contribution, so they wanted to fulfill their part, right? They didn't want to be behind, and they wanted to set the right example. So I I think it's also a possibility. It wasn't the case in our guild. We said, to the guys, do whatever you want. We pointed out the materials that would be the worst, like the copper, probably the most painful one, as peace blooms. But yet again, we've got quite a lot of raiders, on Bloodfang realm, both on Horde and Alliance side. So if everybody did their bit, I think the materials would have been collected within, let's say, 2-3 days. But people weren't bothered,
Yeah.
as a whole, right? To like spend their precious time, in Mulgore, going for those, resources. It was boring. I was doing it, I don't know, 2 weeks, and I was sick of it, right? It's part of the game, if you want to do some stuff, that you'll enjoy, part of it is doing stuff that you don't enjoy that much, right? But it's how it is designed, so we gotta do it, right? We did it. So yeah.
But regarding the migrations as a whole, you have as well been a bit of a critic. I think I think there's people that can back you up here as well, like taking your side of it to an extent, or in the context as to when you wrote the stuff. Like what you wrote is like this was an easygoing realm before the last wave of migrations. Now it's totally fucked thanks to a certain group of people that got miserable lives, so they want to make miserable gaming experience for everyone. Which might be a
Yeah,
bit of
yeah,
a harsh quote.
yeah, it is. It is. It's hard, man. It's uh, yeah, yeah. You're correct, man. Because I can't be like you all are like intruders, that are not welcome in here. It's yeah, because I was judging by I think not majority of guys. I was talking about minority, and yeah, it was kind of harsh. You're
Yeah.
correct because
But
I
I can admit that when the Firemore transfers happened, I was fucking pissed off because they were annoying as hell. They bought up everything from the auction house because they came here and were like, "Oh shit, Plague Room is kind of cheap. I might just well buy everything and post it again at Firemore prices." How lovely! And also, like first day that the migrations opened, people started running around begging for gold in Orgrimmar, which had never happened before because it's such a small server that everybody knew everyone, and like those annoying things started happening. So I could see that people were upset because I was annoyed. But change is inevitable. You have to
well, the
adapt.
the the, the economy, basically in a couple of days, transferred from our realm, what this was for, let's say, a month. It transferred to the Fire of prices, right?
Yes.
Because I got some scouting out in Fire as well, and I was checking the prices over there, and basically. Uh, After a couple of days, the prices were on Bloodfang the same as on Fire Moment. It's crazy, man, because our economy was very chilled, very relaxed, not inflated uh, as it is now. Now it's very inflated, man. If you check the auction house for any materials, it matches the big EU rounds. I checked.
Yeah, and also only in comparison to Alliance side, the Horde side is so much more expensive. It's crazy.
Arcane Crystal 85 gold, man. It's exactly the same price as on Big Realms, man. Black Lotus is even more expensive than Gehenna's that I checked this morning, man. We are on 125, and on Gehenna's it's 105 or something now. So yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But it's part of the, But I don't, I'm not like sad, that people are transferring because of the queue times, right? If you want to play the game, you want to play the game right away. You don't want to log in at work, and wait in the queue. Uh, that's just not right, right? So you're paying for the product that you are not able to play. So yeah, that's a reasonable solution to move somewhere else, you won't have to wait. And then I don't know. I would like respect, if because if you for example, move somewhere else. For, I I'm originally from Czech Republic. Now I live in the UK for 6 years, and I would never try to like in real life. I would never try to try to change things around me in new place. I would rather try to adapt to the new place, right?
Yeah.
Because to respect their example, the pricing, right? Let's have it this way. But well, they felt it's super cheap, man, but they didn't realize the bigger behind it, which is like let's respect the prices that are here. Let's maybe take some advantage of it, but not in the extended not in the not to that extent that it completely changed the economic of the realm, with the last wave of the migration, which is, kind of demotivational for guys. Not my case, who, because it basically changed the gold value. You had, for example, 10k gold, and it became, in a couple of days, it became like 6k gold in the value, right?
Well, yeah, it's inflation.
Yeah.
And it got inflated like I don't know, 40% in a week or something.
So basically, the guys who were farming hard before were basically punished, for basically.
Well, it depends on if you have sold it and went liquid, meaning you had it stored as gold, then yeah, you got screwed. But if you still kept
Yeah.
it as materials, then you were pretty good off.
Yeah, I was better. I'm actually better off, with the mats I got. But I was thinking about the others, for the guys, who are not are hard farmers. They got, let's say up to 1,500 to 2k gold, which is, I think, like normal, like gold amount of people.
Yeah,
Uh, and they were screwed basically over a couple of nights, right?
yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of unfortunate, but it is how it is, and I think we got used to it somehow, right? It's already like 5-6 months, since it happened. So yeah, and we are still here. We still play the game, right? So yeah, but what's happening? What's a lot of opinions of the guys, that I heard about, about the realm situation, how kind of toxic it is, how they are, discouraged to play. A lot of guys are telling me, why should I log in to this environment? Why should I, bother, going through that shit, which is their point of view. I kind of see their thinking behind it, and I don't know what to say to them. What should be their motivation to log in, to keep on going, to keep on, farm whatever they are farming still, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not very happy, to see the guys that I enjoy play with. They are, thinking about leaving the realm. They are thinking about quitting the game, because they are getting griefed, a lot, and especially by the Turtles Guild and by a couple of more guilds, that are, the guilds that are from the last wave of the migration, right? Why
So
why's
what's
that
their
happening?
experience like?
Well, the experience is, they don't want to deal with the people that got their egos super sky high and they think they are gods, and the others are, compared to them, are shit.
Yeah.
And they are sick of, being treated like that, or to be uh, hunted, whenever they'll enter the open world, because it's the case for a lot of guys. They got, accounts, scouting accounts on on the other faction and they are hunting for certain people, right? So then they are discouraged to do anything basically. It's even difficult to get word puffs, right? If you are not getting, summoned and ported out straight away. So yeah,
Yeah,
I see their point of view, like why to carry on in the environment like that, So then only there are a couple of viable solutions for them. They can migrate out, which means they won't be able to play with their friends anymore,
yeah,
or they can quit the game,
yeah, yeah. That's
which is sad.
yeah, I agree. To me, the game at the moment is more about the people I play with. I think if people were to quit, I would probably quit as well because there's not too much in game that's holding me, keeping me going. Actually,
Same, man.
it's not that motivating to farm materials to go and do the same raid anymore. Might sound a bit sad, but actually, I enjoy the people more than the game itself.
Yeah, I'm the same. That as I mentioned before, somewhere this game is just the interface, right, to provide me to communicate with people basically. Obviously, there are some other stuff in game, but we all want to achieve. We want to perform well.
Yeah,
But to perform well, you need tools to do perform well, right? You can't perform well in outdated gear. So yeah, but it's a community thing, obviously, man. Because I don't see many people that will be carrying on doing fun thing, for extended period of time, like 1 year, uh, because from the repetition, the fun takes away of it, right? So then, if you do it with people that you like, and they like you, and you like the interactions with them, then it's easier to overcome, the boring farms or even unlucky vibes or whatever.
yeah,
You don't mind it that much if it's with the people that you actually you want to you experience a lot with them. Because I play with the guys, like 15 to 20 guys that for since like last October, so it's more than 1 year. And the other half of the guild, it's since March because we merged with Dawn. I think it's just shortly after Black and Claire release with Nevermind. So and it's fun, to play with the guys because they are good at the game. So, for example, we did Scholar yesterday after that Blackwing clan.
oh really?
We did it without tank, And I was playing with my shaman. We went with 2 warlocks, 1 rogue, and 1 mage, and nobody has died, right, in that Scholar, right? And it was quick because people were pumping 500 plus DPS, right? So it was it was fun, man.
Yeah. I think on the other side, though, for the people that are very active in the game, there's not that much left to do outside of raiding and stuff, and that means you're just waiting for the next reset. So what you do when you're playing is like, so you gather up and you do some well PvP because it's yeah, at least in my opinion, well PvP is way more funnier than the battlegrounds. I don't see any point in doing battlegrounds because it's only about getting honor per hour, and I don't rank, so I don't care about that. But I still enjoy playing with the other friends, and if they don't want to do 5 months, okay, what can we do? Yeah, we can go to Stormwind with the rogues or something like that, and that's funny as hell. I enjoy that. So you can't be like bashing on them for wanting to play the game the way they want to play it as well. So it's just intentions crashing from different perspectives.
That's true. That's true. But what kind of became very popular after the last wave of migration. It was a dispelling meta, let's
Oh yeah,
say it. Yeah, it's not a you can't call this PvP
no, I agree.
because I don't call it PvP if you got a priest that's basically only dispelling and corpse running and dispelling again. What's the fun, because for in my opinion the word buff meta is scuffed as fuck. Since it's super broken, in terms of like it gives you so much. That is equal on PTR. The buff when you enter Naxxramas, it's 50% damage increase, right? And what people are saying, it's less than if I'm fully ward buffed, right? If you got all the buffs, including Dark Moon Fair, you got more than 50% damage increase, right? It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So broken, and the it takes a long time. If you are doing it solo, it's like 2 hours 2 hours to grab all the buffs, and if you get dispelled, you are not very happy about it, right?
No,
and
I agree. I agree.
and they and when they do it, they realize it, that they ruined 2 hours of your life, and that's super sick, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be so easy for Blizzard to fix it. Just make them physical. But they never had the intention of people stacking them. And they have admitted it themselves that it was just a cool thing that they implemented, but they never had in mind that people would stack well buffs like we do.
Well, but it's I think again it's about good and uh, like it's about the current climate. People are trying to push the best. They want to pass 99, so they are going for it, right? Because if you miss something, you won't pass 99.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it's their goal, to improve every rate, to produce bigger DPS, to contribute better, to make quicker career or smoother career, uh, and to improve themselves. Some people are striving to improve every day, right? So they are doing their best,
Yeah.
and I'm not I'm not judgmental on it because it's their approach, and uh, if it keeps them playing, go for it, man. Because yeah, that I can't imagine this, back in vanilla, right? In vanilla, it was kind of there was very limited sources of the informations, right? How to min max. It was very like I would say it was about like 1% of the population of the vanilla was probably something like that. And now it's like every second guy is going, to parse better and stuff. Even I look at the logs, when I pick people for the packs, right? Because I want to push the DPS, towards ideally between 1K to 600, right, on the boss fights,
Yeah.
because then it's quicker, it's smoother, and people enjoy it more, right, when you clear it in 1 hour. Rather than 4 hours that we did yesterday, for example, right? So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The thing with us nerds is that we have like addictive personalities. That's why we keep doing this. And
That's true. It's so
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's a
and
very
that's
hard
that's
track, man.
also the way. Like we want those fucking endorphins or dopamine rushes, and we get that from parsing better, like bigger numbers, bigger crits, bigger hits, more DPS. And that's
Yeah,
why we keep trying to improve all the time. Everybody realizes that it's ridiculous and that you could just be free from all this bullshit. Just don't look at your logs and don't give a fuck about your parses. But then everybody seems to think like, okay, so you are super casual now. You don't give a fuck. You can go and do your 4-hour BWLs then if you think that's fun. Like,
It's not
no,
fun, you know. But
no.
for example, yesterday only one guy rage quit it after I think the second or third Farmo wipe.
Yeah.
He says, "Sorry, I got in out. You can ban me for the pack, but it was terrible. I am not. I I'm not mad at the guy because he's good, you know, and but uh,
No, no,
it,
but I'm not bashing on the pug anymore. I'm just talking in general.
yeah. But you know, it feels so rewarding, you know. I've recently wrote a rogue, you know, so
Yeah.
it's very visible. You know, if you are word buffman and you generate so much DPS, the numbers just from bite hits are crazy high. It's unreal. So you are super motivated, you know, to go in even to fucking blasted lands, you know, to farm your agility and strength buffs, man.
Yeah, but it's even worse as a warrior because the rage is correlated with your DPS. So with 12 buffs, you get to press more buttons, and that's what you want to do as a warrior.
Yeah, so yeah, it feels so rewarding, you know, as a DPS class, not so rewarding as a healing class because I got priest and shaman.
Yeah,
I don't notice it that much, and I cast my heals, you know, to be efficient, to not overheal much. And those, you know, crit buffs from Sanctflower and Diamo in Onyxia, it usually ends up in overheal, right? And I don't like overhealing. I like to keep my overheal in some reasonable manner, like 30% max. And if you're critting a lot, then it goes up to even 40, 50, man. It's crazy, man.
yeah. So, what was your expectations from Classic? Did you expect it to be like vanilla?
No, I expected it to be the same as vanilla. To be honest, I was expecting it to be the same as vanilla or similar, but
Yeah.
it's completely changed because I think vast majority of the classic population is the guys who were bored with retail or they didn't enjoy the retail that much, and they basically transformed their habits from retail, from minimaxing to vanilla, right? And now it's classic, and it's part of the game, you know, to min-max a lot.
Yeah.
Majority of people are min-maxing, I would say, in terms of, you know, swing timers, buffs, consumes. They are trying to push it hardest, right?
Oh yeah.
And then when it uh, comes to you know to judging themselves compared to others, so those guys think, you know, if I'm parsing better than others, I am better than others in all aspects of the life, right? I'm better human being than
Oh.
you because I parse better. And I think it's the thing for quite a lot of people, especially on Bloodfang Discord, right? Isn't it? Or I got quicker clear time in AQ40 than you. I'm a better person than you. I think a lot of
That's
guys.
the thing I noticed while doing my research on you. Like it seems like you blend together um, in-game persons with IRL persons. Am I am I onto something here?
Well, I think people are the same in game as IRL, man. I think why you should put so much effort to create an illusion about yourself that you are a dick in the game when you are a nice guy IRL, right? Why to do it, right? What's the point? You know, most of the World of Warcraft Classic community is 30 plus, I would say, or let's say 25 to 40, and I believe those people in this age region, they got their life settled up somehow. They, you know, they are not kids. You know, they are not if 10 to 16-year-old kids that are still developing their personalities, right? Their personalities are currently built up and they won't change much. So why to pretend I'm somebody in the game, something else than I am IRL, right? It's too much effort, and I think mm, it's I don't know, man, but or they want to diverse from other people.
But just to make this clear, do you think that the IRL personality reflects the in-game personality?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Oh man, I disagree so much with this.
So you're somebody else in the game and somebody else IRL?
Yeah, of course. You must have never been to Sweden because we Swedes we are so passive aggressive. It's a fucking poison. And I mean, you must have met that sort of person who are like a saint when they are sober and when they are at the workplace and whatnot. And as soon as they have a couple of beers, a completely different personality comes out because they're losing their boundaries and they can be so fucking rude, evil sort of person that just transformed from this normal, very sincere person. Like, do you recognize that?
Yeah, you are right. You are right
And
completely. I
I think
agree.
people are like that with the game as well. Like people are tired of being nice guys in real life, so they go into the game and all of a sudden they are like, I'm Big Dick Steve and I'm here to take your 12 buffs.
That's true, but yeah, I agree. But uh, you're correct. But we play the games to enjoy ourselves, right? What's the
Yeah,
other reason you don't make any like social status IRL in the game? You don't make any money in the game. You play the game to enjoy yourself, right? And if you're uh play the game to make other people game experience miserable, then something is wrong, right? And if you do it like constantly and all the time, or you target the same people, right? Then what it will, end up with, those people will be upset, and they will be discouraged to lock in and to actually play the game, right?
yeah,
And I think it's vital for the game that most of the people will carry on playing the game, right? So imagine if you are Braden Naxxramas and you are the only guild on the realm that does Naxxramas, right? Or in the world, whatever. But if you'll be alone, there won't be people to compare with. There won't be, like I think it would be super sad, if you would be playing the game alone, right? The game is built on the social interaction, right?
yeah.
And you don't
Yeah,
want.
but the
I don't know. I
forum
don't know.
format also forces you into having people that you might not want to bring along as well, since you need to have 40 people and you can't be too picky about who are allowed to join. Sometimes you have to go with the awful guy who nobody seems to like, but he's into the guild because he's IRL friends with two other guys that can't pull it together and tell that guy that he's a fucking idiot.
But uh, fortunately enough, it wasn't the case throughout the classic I played. I had only one guild change in my entire in the last year, basically, and it was because I'm Czech, as I said, I was in Czech guild at the very very beginning of the realm, but
Mm.
yet again it was uh, kind of yeah. I was also the officer, and there was like you know we were glad that we had like 30 people online, and I was the second level 60 on the realm from this guild. First guy left for some raiding guild, but I said I'm gonna stick around. I'll have the guys with only attunement, with MC attunement, with pre-rate piss farm, right? So the mountain core is easier with blue gear from level 60 dungeons than with green shit, that you'll buy a function house or you'll farm from the quests. So I decided to stick around, help them, but then they wanted to make like the guild something I didn't want to like to they wanted to basically feed the loot to their RL friends, who were you know who were like the guys, I'm gonna play meme spec and I'll get all the best items, over the guys who are actually very good at the game and they would, for example, give stuff of Shadow Flame to Balance Druid, right? I was kinda, or give, we were talking about just Mountain Core, right? So let's give the enhancement shaman, stuff that would benefit more to warriors, rogues, or hunters. And I said, no, I don't agree with that. And uh, there was a couple, it was a girl that was very new to the game, to World of Warcraft as a whole, and her partner. And they were, well, we need to uh, give the Eye of Ragnaros to our IRL friend and Hashame. And then couple of other, I think some rings and yeah, it was rings we extracting and it will go first to him. I said, no, man, because I said, man, come on, man. There are guys, who are very good performing and it will be good fit to them or the guys that will, be actually, because and Hashami, it's in my house is the same as it's a support class, right? And Hashami with the Nightfall it can buff caster's DPS a bit, but it can't compare the DPS of warrior shamans. Oh, sorry, warriors and rogues. No chance, to do it without pulling aggro because it's a class. You can pull fucking 800 to 1000 DPS on very short fights if you're lucky as an Hashaman, but that's basically it, right? And you are basically on the same threat level as a tank, if you are, critting early from the fight, then you need those crits, to keep up to it with warriors and rogues.
So is there anything left of the Czech community on Bloodfang?
Well, they had some issues because they got to the stage when they were able to clear Mountain Core. Then they were struggling for numbers because they wanted to keep the guild, as Czech and Slovak because we got the same language basically.
Yeah.
But there was not enough people that would be possible to recruit because on our realm, I would say on the Horde side there are like 5 to 10 Czech people. In I think Unity, Unknown, Dawn. I've seen a couple of in social girls like Duratar Daycare as well. But vast majority, basically, they had even I think 15 to 20 people transferring in Bloodfang
Oh, really?
to actually keep it going. So that's how they progressed in Black Cloud with those new recruits outside the Bloodfang. But then there was some drama over the loot, and basically they made a new guild, but they were crippled because I think around 10 people didn't join them, and they were again in the same situation. They didn't have numbers to actually carry on or think about AQ40 progression. So those guys who made the guild, they transferred to some other realm to join another Czech and Slovak guys, so basically they repeated the history. They as they transferred to Bloodfang, they transferred somewhere else. So to keep it, the guild chat and the language of the guild the same, right? And I don't know, man. I think we are a so small country. We don't have that many players. I think it's nice, but it's very complicated, right? To think about like long-term planning because it's very limited with the options you've got in terms of recruitment. Even to international guild, it's very hard to recruit people that will be capable, that will have some kind of gear and some kind of common sense or knowledge, at least knowledge of the encounters, right? Because we've been recruiting a lot in Dawn, and like it's one of four guys are actually capable of execute the strategy properly or bring the consumables, buffs, the correct like raiding approach, to the raids, or even the gear, for Viserius as a melee, you need to fucking have the hammer, the epic hammer that's got frostproc, or the cold rage dagger from uh, RFD, I think. Yeah. So, those basic stuffs, that you need to actually get to enable to kill the bosses, And as I said, one of four guys, is actually a good prospect for the guild, right? That you recruit. The remaining three, they are not able to, uh, understand, for example, the position on Ketun or don't cleave on the twins, so we don't, engage the bugs that are neutral. But if you are cleaving or if you are multi-shotting, you will obviously, they'll become hostile and they'll go after your healers, right? So, yeah, it's situation, especially on this realm, because there is no much material. You can see, all the guilds are still looking for the people, right? No matter how successful you are in
Yeah,
speedrunning,
that's true. How are you guys looking for the future?
Good question. We are trying to determine how is the guild readiness in terms of arcane down reputation, because if you are like neutral, friendly, or honored, it's quite expensive, to get the Nax attunement, and it's basically the first step,
Yeah,
So we're trying to determine how the people reputation are. I do believe that most of the mains got their reputation exalted or like 3K to exalted, so it's just a couple of scholar runs or strategy runs. So
it's not too
um,
bad if you're revered, right? It's like 2 arcane crystals and 50 gold or something.
yep, yeah, it's not too bad, and pushing it to revert is not difficult as well, because as I said, I recently wrote a rogue, and I'm already uh, I think 3K in revert, and I was just farming my previous gear, right? So it's doable in no time. In let's say 2 weeks, right? You can push your reputation from neutral to revert, and then the mats, as you said, to crystals, it's nothing, right? It's nothing, or it's 160 gold, which you can make, in 1 day of
What
farm.
what are your thoughts on Naxxramas?
Well, some encounters will be super difficult, right? So, like for horseman, like Saphiron, uh, it will be difficult, but I think the best strategy for the guilds like ours, like Dawn, uh, we'll try to go for the easy encounters first, like uh, to get some confidence and new rate, and to get some obviously the gear, because the gear from Nax is broken compared to Bloodfang or compared to AQ40 gear. It's
Yeah.
the tier 3 is awesome, and for example, for me as a main priest, the tier 2.5 is not too appealing. I don't have any single piece from it because the healing gear from MC, BVL, AQ20 G is just better. Apart from a couple of pieces, like but there is not much loot, But to the question, what we are expecting from Nox, we are expecting a lot of vibes, because we know what we've got. We know how people
It
are
will be fun.
executing we know how people are executing the mechanics on Katoon, on Vestidus, on Oro as well. So so we know where we are. So as I said, we'll start with the easy bosses, with the easy wings. We probably won't go for the full wings because at the end of the wings is usually a very hard boss. But so the plan is to start with the easy bosses to encourage people to farm their frost resist gear, because 200 plus is a requirement for some of the bosses. I think from Sapphiron is you need to have 200 plus for the whole raid, which is not easy, and you'll need to farm next trash a lot to get those stuff for crafted items, right? So yeah, it will be a lot of work. But my personal goal is to do full clearing of Nux in 2 months. I think 2 months is reasonable, man. 8
Yeah, that
resets.
sounds reasonable.
Even for people that are new to the content, because for me personally, I never been to Nux. In vanilla, I used to braid till just I downed AQ42 twins, so I never killed Katoon before. But in these days, it's so easy, man. The best strategies are out there on YouTube. In 2 or 3 clicks, you can see what to do basically, right? You don't need to like explore yourself or try out the mechanics, because the mechanics are still there. They are the same for 15 years. So people perfected it over the time uh, on in vanilla or then on private servers, right?
Yeah.
So just if people will be willing to watch those videos, there are a couple of good strategy videos out there. So I think it shouldn't be an issue. But the position, in general, of vanilla or classic players is poor. I would say, they are moving. Their movement is slow or irrational or chaotic because they are stressed out. They obviously nobody wants to wipe a raid. It can happen easily on Cartoon, right? If you're stuck in, badly, then it, it can happen, right? That people will get one-shotted, and quite a lot of them.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm personally very hyped about Nax. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope we'll be able to clear it, because you know you never know. You never know what can expect from the members of the guild. When you'll be struggling, because I can imagine we'll be wiping for on one boss. We'll be wiping all night, right? And some people don't enjoy it. I think it's part of the game. It's part of the development, uh, as a personal or as a team. So, and then if I pipe a lot and if I spend a lot of consumes, a lot of time, it feels super well if you finally kill the boss, right? The first kill it's basically my only motivation in the game to do the first kills with the people I like, uh, and with some effort. If you, for example, We merged with Dawn. We one-shotted everything in Blackwing Claire, and it felt kinda. Oh my god, man! I was looking for some challenge, right? I was looking for some difficult encounters, and it wasn't happening. So I hope I'll find it in Nextremas. Had some encounters, that will be difficult because we
Well,
only struggled big time in AQ40 on Twins. I think we spent there one night, that we were not able to kill them, but the next night when we brought the board buffs and everything, we one-shotted them as well. So yeah, it feels super rewarding when you actually struggle and then finally kill the boss with friends, in the guild. That,
yeah,
that's why I play the game, right? To finally have the first kills, or it feels super well, man. And the loot is secondary because the loot it's just some pixels, that will raise your stats. And that's it, But if you're a shit player and you'll have piss gear, you still will be, shit player, and your execution will be still poor, right? So mm, I don't care much about the gear. I'm I'm thinking about the others mainly, right? This guy is really wanting, for example, some weapon or some part of the gear. Just go for it, man. Have it. I can wait because if you'll farm it, you'll get it, right? It's vanilla, right? You don't want to. If you want to play the game for the loot, you shouldn't play this game, right? Because it's hard
yeah,
hard to come by, and it's RNG, right? And RNG can be very depressing, right? We've been farming the bindings for one of my guildies for nearly 1 year, right? The bindings from Car, and we finally got them on Thursday. So I'm very pleased with that. It's yes, the guy is celebrating since, man. Since Thursday, he's still celebrating, and he's so happy, and that makes me like feel useful because I was doing this part mainly for him and his bindings. Uh, so I'm
that's
very
nice.
pleased that it happened, man, because it was every week, man. I mean, we went there and we had big expectations for the bindings, and they weren't coming, but now they are there. So yeah, you can imagine how is it, if you are forced to do it every reset just to not miss the opportunity to get your dreamed of weapon, right? Because
Yeah, yeah, I know
even for
that.
a rogue, his standard is very good as offhand weapon, right?
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you would like to add before we round off this conversation?
I think the Bloodfang Discord population should chill a bit. Don't take everything too seriously over there, and to not be bored because I feel that a lot of people are bored and they are looking for some engagement.
True.
So don't be bored, man. Farm your stuff, do your word PvP, and be less toxic. I would say, because it's what's vital for the population to you know to enjoy the game. Basically, we need the community, to play the game right to be able to recruit. Because if there won't be any community, all the guilds will die because it's part of the game, that people are leaving the game, for IRL or to play
But
different games, right? So if we'll lose the community, we'll be suffering, right? Because I think you need 40 men rate to clear Naxxramas. Some encounters are your damage is affected by surrounding players nearby you, right? So you want to have 40 man rate, and for the community it's vital to have decent numbers and to have decent people to play with, right? And if we'll be toxic towards each other, people will be discouraged to play. So keep
but
that in
would
mind.
you consider yourself toxic?
um, in general, no, I'm not toxic. I'm a nice guy, man. I'm very wishful, and as I act in the game is as I act IRL. So, and I don't have any like suffering or something that would bother me that I would need to make up in the game, right? To like heal my wounds or something like that.
No,
Because
no.
I got the feeling, people through the game are healing their wounds, that are wounds, that are broken and they want to fix it somehow. I don't know, man. No, I don't consider myself toxic in general, but I can be toxic towards some people. I can be.
When people press your buttons, basically.
Exactly, and it's not difficult, to be, to to make me crazy. Because if
No.
you will try to attack my weaknesses, everybody's got their weakness, right? So then, yeah, it can pull the trigger, and yeah,
No,
but
man,
it's the case for everyone, right?
having a temperament is not exclusive for you. It's common.
I'm passionate about it. I play the game, a lot. I just was checking my playtime, and I'm gonna check it again on my on my priest. It's 115 days, right? Played in the game, and I don't count my shaman and my rogue, which is probably 25 days each. So you can imagine it's 165 days in 1 year game, right? So it's basically it's 12 hours a day that I spend in the fucking game, right? And I go to work still, right? So I'm passionate about it, right? I can't be like neutral. I can't get neutral feelings towards the game that I play very casual. I play it a lot. Um, I play it a lot because I enjoy it with the guys I play with.
Well, cool. I think that rounds off the conversation. Thank you for coming, Emenens.
Thank you for inviting me, and I wish you best of the luck in the game and the next Canvas progression as well.
Thank you.